We will be starting the second module. Okay, second module of the embedded system mainly deals with serial communication standards and best protocols. Okay, so the reference will be same, the embedded system by Rajkamal. The page numbers are written, and also I will be taking notes from the internet and some other reference books which are given in your syllabus. Okay, so before you enter into uh, the communication standards, we need to understand what are the different types of input type, output types. Okay, so you know all these basics. Say, what do you mean by port? A port is something which can transmit or receive data either through a wire or without a wire. Okay, you have seen all these things. You have an input port. Input port receives data. You have an output port which transmits data. Then there are two types how the data is received and transmitted, the number of data at a time received. So you can have serial and parallel or serial IO. Bits are transmitted at successive intervals, that is one at a time. In the case of parallel IO, you have bits transmitted at an instant because they are, if say you have a 8-bit parallel data bus, you have data transmitted at one particular cycle of a clock. Okay. So the devices, IO types, they are classified into these. You have a synchronous serial input device. Say, for example, reading from a CD. You might have heard about compact discs. Maybe you might not be using it now, but previously, we had compact discs. Also, audio and video inputs are synchronous serial inputs. Same way, the synchronous serial output, you can say the example is right into a CD. Okay, and the audio and video outputs. You have asynchronous. Asynchronous is the case where you do not have a clock. Okay, so the mouse works according to that because the mouse works based on your click. Okay, so it is asynchronous. Then you have modem. Then asynchronous serial output. You have printers, the RS-232 from the modem. Then you have parallel port. Okay, parallel port. You have M-bit input where you can see you're going to convert a analog signal into a digital. You will be using a ADC. So the sensors ADC, the sensors, they will be having parallel input. Same way, when you're going to display into your LCD, you will have parallel output ports to the LCD controller. Then you can have parallel port input output. Say, you have your mainframe computers, right? Mainframe computers. In that, what is done is you have data stored in a very large memory device as a whole. You might have heard about mainframe computers. So the problem with the mainframe is, say, if the whole data is, if a particular mainframe computer, the hard disk is corrupted, you lose the whole data. So in contrast to that, you have a RAID, that is a redundant array of independent disks, in which you have a set of data, not the whole data saved in a same disk, but you have data saved at multiple disks. Okay, so that is parallel port input output. Okay, so RAID is an example for that. Now this you do not have to study. I just it is just to give you an understanding about what are the different types of IO devices. Okay. Now this is an example about how a synchronous serial input device communicates. You can understand. You can think about a 1-bit flip flop or a set of flip flops which you use it as a shift register. So serial input device, you can see that data comes one at a time, where you have a clock to provide synchronization, and you have a serial input port, okay, which reads the input data one bit at a time. Same way, the output device also should have a similar pattern. So you have n-bit output lines, and you have a clock which has the same clock frequency as that of the input port. Okay. Case of asynchronous is one example is which you are going to study, UART, where you have, you will receive the parallel input and you will convert it into a serial input type. But here there is no synchronization provided. You do not have a clock. Okay. But you have to provide synchronization, you have a multiple number of signals. Okay. So that is what the basics of IO types are. Okay. And types of communication, you have half duplex, full duplex, like that systems. Okay. The next thing that you need to understand is how the speed in which a data is transmitted. You need to know what are the units that are used. Okay, how it is conveyed. So first we need to understand the basic unit is a bit for your binary transmission. Then you might have studied in digital communication that you will be using symbols. Symbols in the sense the type of coding, type of encoding that you use. You might be using, Manchester coding, polar coding, or line coding. So you will be converting a group of symbols, bits into a symbol to convey a data. So there you will be having a term known as baud. Baud is a unit of signaling speed. So bit rate indicates the number of bits that is transmitted per second. Okay. So bit rate is the number of data transmitted, number of bits transmitted per second. But in the case of your encoding techniques, you might have heard about baud rate. Okay. So baud rate is, say if S is the number of symbols. So baud rate means the number of symbols transmitted per second. Okay. So if you want to find the bit rate and you have the number of bits transmitted per symbol, then you can find bit rate by B is equal to S into N, where S is the number of symbols transmitted per second. Okay. So this is an example of how, which gives a clear understanding between what is a bit rate and what is a baud rate. Okay. So you can see in the first symbol, you can see first diagram, you can see bits are transmitted as it is, that is symbol. A symbol also consists of one bit only. Okay. 0, then next 0, then you have 1, then 0, then 1, 1, 1. Okay. So a symbol contains one bit only. So that means the bit rate and baud rate are same. Clear? So you can see 1 second timing, and you can see how many symbols, how many bits are transmitted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bits are transmitted, and also you can see there are how many symbols transmitted. You can see there are 10 symbols transmitted. So naturally the bit rate and baud rate for this particular first diagram is same. But in the case of your second diagram, you can see bits are there. Okay, multiple bits are transmitted. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 1 second, you can see 20 bits are there, but bits are combined at one particular interval. You can see that. So that is a symbol. Okay. So bits are coded like that and transmitted. So symbols are transmitted per second. So you can see the number of bits transmitted per second is 2, whereas the number of symbols transmitted per second is 1. Okay. So naturally you can see bit rate is double the baud rate. So in 1 second, you can see baud is equal to, you can see 10 symbols per second. So bitrate is double of that, 10 into 20 for this particular example. Next, we will be talking about serial communication standards. So first thing that we will be dealing with is the UART. UART stands for Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. So why do we go for serial communication? The first thing, why do we go for serial communication is you can think about it, like you should think about it in mind. What are the advantages of serial communication? Okay, first thing is the cabling cost. Cabling cost in the sense, if you have a parallel number of lines, naturally the number of wires need to be increased. So it reduces the cost of cabling. Channel size is reduced because just one data you are going to transfer at a time. Then what happens in the case of parallel lines, you have, because these two lines are carrying current, so naturally there is effect of crosstalk and noise. Then the telephone line, they are a better way of communication. So actually your telephone line, the normal landline communication, they use serial communication, and also the connector is small. Then you can have sensor networking. Okay, so these are the advantages or why we go for serial communication. But in most of the cases, there are certain cases which require parallel communication, mainly speed of transmission. Okay, so UART stands for Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. Now, UART, it was used not so long ago. Usually, when keyboards, mouse, and printers, they had the cables and very very clunky connectors. They, they had to be literally screwed into the computer, and these devices they used UART to communicate with computers. Okay, but currently they have been replaced with the USBs. But when you go for your Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and other common microcontrollers, you will have these UARTs used. And it is easier for you to connect to Bluetooth modules and GPS modules using the UART. Okay. Now, each of the communication standards that we are going to discuss uses different type of protocols. Okay. So this is actually a a circuit that is found in your microcontroller. Okay, it is a standalone circuit. Okay. Now the main advantage is it uses just two wires to transmit data. That is one for transmitting and one for receiving. Okay. So next, yeah, it takes bytes of data, transmits the individual bits in a sequential fashion. Okay, that is you have a parallel set of data that is coming from a computer. But it is converted into serial data and it is transmitted to the receiver UART, and the receiver UART converts it back to the parallel. Now, the data format and the transmission speed, they are configurable. That means you have a baud rate. Now, the baud rates can be changed, but the only thing is the transmitting device and the receiving device should have the same baud rate. That is the main idea behind the synchronization. Okay, else you will lose the data flow. This is actually a very basic device, but it is a very powerful device. Now, this is a typical scenario of how UART is connected. Okay, you have different pins of your UART. Mainly, you have your transmission and receiving pin, TX and RX. Prior to that, you have a data bus scene. That is the data that is coming from your microcontroller or any feeding device, which provides you the parallel data. Okay, and that is given to the UART1, and UART1 transmits to the UART2, which is received, and it is converted back to a parallel data and fed to the receiver device for future processing and all. So the main thing, two most important things, you do not have a clock here. This is asynchronous type. Okay, you have to keep in mind this is asynchronous. So naturally, we will be thinking how we will be synchronizing the data. So you have two things. First one, the baud rate. Baud rate should be similar. People who might have used Android, no Arduino programming, and who have gone for serial communication, you might be seeing, you might have gone when you go for serial transmission. You might have seen that you are going for setting the serial transmission baud rate. 9600 bps you will be going and setting, so that it gets synchronized with the type of Arduino or type of processor that you're using. Okay, second thing, you need to have a start and stop bit. Okay, start bit indicates that there is a valid data coming, stop bit indicates that is the end of data. Okay, so the signals that are used, I'll just show you the diagram. So this is how the frame format looks. Okay, now we will just go through what all these are. So initially there is a start bit. Okay. So start bit, what is the significance of start bit is when the UART is not transmitting any data, the transmission line is usually a high voltage. Okay. So whenever it starts to transfer a data, the UART has a start bit. The UART switches from high voltage to a low voltage. So that is what you can see a start bit logic 0. Okay. The receiving UART will receive the high to low voltage transmission and start reading the bits at the accurate baud rate. Okay. Then the most important thing, one of the most important thing that needs to be used is you need to verify whether the transmitted bit and the received bits are the same. So it so happens that you might have studied in DCT that whenever you transmit any channel, whichever channel it is prone to errors. Okay, your data may become corrupted, maybe due to noise or maybe due to some other crosstalk or something like that. Okay, so we need to verify whether the data that we received is correct or not. So there, the basic method is to check the parity. When you studied your microcontroller, you might have studied about parity flag. Now, what is parity is? There may be the number of ones. It can be even or odd. So when you transmit, you can convey that, okay, I am transmitting even number of ones or odd number of ones. So if the bit is a 1, then it indicates that it is a odd parity. Okay. And if the bit is 0, it indicates that it is a even parity. So after reading the data frame, after receiving the data, it also counts the number of bits and checks the parity bit. Okay. To see if the parity matches with the transmitted parity. Okay. So if there is an error, it will be asking to retransmit. Okay. So that is the use of the parity bit. Then you have a stop bit. Stop bit indicates, so you can see a stop bit is a high. It will be going from a low to high, which indicates that the transmission is complete. So this is the frame format of a UART. Now the advantages is it uses only 2 wires. Okay. But yeah, 2 wires for data transmission, but there are other, for what synchronization, you have other supporting terminals, but still for data, it uses only 2 wires. Then there is no clock required, so that naturally that particular hardware is eliminated. Then it provides error correction bit, the parity bit. Also, the cost and size are lesser compared to your parallel standards. Parallel itself, if it is a 8-bit parallel port, you need to have 8 lines. So with this, I kind of UART. Next, we will go to serial SPI.